Hi, and welcome back. This is week 11, video number 3. And in this video, I'm going to go over the instructions for your workplace writing assignment. This assignment is going to be due on December 6th by midnight. And as usual, you'll be uploading it to Blackboard. It's worth 10%, so it's worth a fairly big chunk. What I'm going to ask you to do is I'm going to ask you to read through the scenarios that are listed on the handout. And first of all, determine if you should be writing a memo or a letter. So you want to think about the criteria. Remember, memos stay within an organization and letters go from an individual or an organization to an outside person or organization. I'm going to ask you to design some basic letterhead, okay, or to set up the memo if you're doing a memo, and write the memo or letter using the appropriate strategy, either the direct strategy or the indirect strategy based on the scenario. I'm going to ask you to ensure that your submission is free of writing errors. So I'm going to be a little bit vicious on this one in terms of your writing, because I'm going to, again, be thinking about your professional reputation. So watch every comma, watch every apostrophe, watch the spelling of words. If there are any details that are not included in the scenario that you feel that you need, feel free to invent those. Now let's take a look at the scenarios. So I divided the scenarios up into ones for dental assisting students and ones for students who are in nursing or personal support work. I'm not going to read out the scenarios to you because I'll ask you to read those when you're making decisions about which one you're going to select. But I am going to warn you that I've been pretty mean. These scenarios are difficult to handle, but they're based on real life situations that you're going to find yourself in after graduation. I want you to ask yourself, as you're writing the memo or the letter, to think about the person who's going to receive it and to think about the best way to communicate that information to them. You're not going to be doing a lot of writing for this assignment, so I would imagine that your submission will be a page or less, but I want you to think about every word and every sentence that you write so that you get your communication just right. I'm going to take a look at the letters and I'm going to evaluate them on two things. So first of all, I'm going to take a look at the format. Are you using the letter format or the memo format correctly? And then I'm going to take a look at your use of strategy. If it's direct strategy that you're using, I'm first of all going to make sure is that the appropriate strategy to use. And then I'm going to make sure that you're including all of the relevant information. If you're using the indirect strategy, again, I'm first going to assess whether or not you're using the correct strategy for this scenario. But then I'm going to take a look at what you've written and ask myself if you've handled the situation as best you can, and if you haven't re-victimized the person that you're writing to. Okay, so basically I'm going to ask myself, would somebody burst into tears reading this or not? Wrestle with the situations, do some thinking before you actually sit down and write. Even sort of briefly planning or outlining how you're going to write your letter or your memo may be helpful. Remember to adhere to the strategy. So take a look at the examples. Take a look again at the actual strategy as it's laid out paragraph by paragraph. Good luck with this one. I've given you some tough scenarios, but I know you can do it, and I'm looking forward to taking a look at what you come up with. As usual, I'll be around for the course chats at our regular dates and times if you have any questions or want to discuss workplace writing.